Jordan here. Been getting a lot of questions lately, asking about how I record guitar and what's my workflow like when it comes to recording guitar and doing tracks. So just decided to make a short tutorial to kind of explain how I go about doing all that. So first things first, your audio interface, very important. Whether it's a USB device or Firewire device or a high Z input on a computer. Um, it's always best to have some external device or something like that to record the tracks. Why? Because the microphone port will not work. The quality of sound that comes through that will not work. So, alright, next thing, clipping. Your track should never clip. I don't know if you can see the levels right here, but it's not clipping, no red, and you should make sure that none of your tracks clip nor the light on your interface comes up to indicate clipping. Next thing, latency. You need to have the lowest possible latency using Azure drivers. You can there are other solutions like Azure for All and stuff like that. But essentially, latency is the delay it takes from when you play instruments and for it to be processed to your computer and returned through your speakers or headphones or whatever. So you need to have really low latency if you want to monitor your tracks and record to a tempo and so on. Okay, well, with that said, let's move on into the tutorial. So I have a couple tracks here. Only they're labeled for clarity right now, and my mic is on and we're monitoring that. And there's nothing really going on there. It's just the audio track and using the left input from my interface. Okay, so let's hear how the guitar sounds unprocessed and dry. Okay, as you can hear, there is nothing really going on with the guitar at this point. And we're going to use amp sims to get the sound of a real amplifier, into your sound. So what we do is go to insert, and I use quite a few amp sims, but my favorite is TH2. I keep running back to that one. And right now it's bypassed. And if I turn off the bypass, you hear how it sounds without cap sims. And I'll speak about cap sims soon. Okay, so that's how it sounds with the amp sim, and as you can hear, it sounds a bit more harsh and a lot more digital, and pretty much the cap sims will help clear up all that. So let's have a look into how I set up my presets. So I've made a pretty fast preset. It took me about 5 minutes to do. And I have a noise gate, first position, to get rid of any noise that the pickups might be getting through, whether you're picking or background noise. Then I have a tube screamer, which essentially tightens up the low end and boosts the mids a bit. And the mids are really needed if you're doing gents to kind of get the pick attack and stuff like that. And pretty much it runs into this amp right here, the Modern US on channel 2 vintage mode. And this model is a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, which I had before and had to sell. Neighbors kept complaining about noise, so I had to sell that. But this does a pretty good job of modeling the amp I had before. From there, it runs into a delay pedal, digital delay, into a spring reverb, and then a parametric EQ. What's really cool about TH2 is that the amps that they model all the channels on the amp. So you kind of have a lot more versatility than all the other software manufacturers out there that do amp sims. And another cool thing is the smart selections down here, smart controls. Essentially, you can tie any parameter from the amp or effects down here, and if you have a MIDI device, you can actually turn them on and off. And I'm just going to demonstrate that using my Rig Control 3, which is my audio interface, and I'll switch the amp channel on and off. Hold on. Turn on MIDI, and this is the MIDI from my Rig Control 3, and I'm routing that into TH2. So if we go back there, it should work. Okay, yeah, there we go. And I can switch all of these effects on and off, just like I would do on a regular pedal board. So the next thing I like to do is create group tracks, and I've already created two, and I've created one for the guitar, which on this track I would normally add like EQs and stuff. And what's cool about this, you can actually automate like the volume. So if you have, let's say, a solo and you actually want to reduce the sound of your rhythm guitars, you can do that from here by manipulating this line here. So pretty much you want to route the audio here to your group channel, which is guitar. And I did the same thing from guitar to the cab. And as the naming suggests, your cab simulations are here. And pretty much you can use IRs or pretty much anything else you want to use, but I use Nebula 3, which dynamically creates impulse responses for the cabs. And impulse responses are essentially just unique EQ curves to match that of the speaker. The reason why I use Nebula is that impulse responses are kind of static, so it doesn't matter how hard you play or how soft you play, you'll always get the same sound. So if the impulse responses are recorded when the amp is like cranked and getting speaker distortion and all that, if you play soft on the guitar, it would still sound as if you're cranking the amp, which is not necessarily what you'd want. But in terms of recording, mixing, you probably won't hear much of a difference. So impulse responses still work, but I like Nebula because of the feel. So if I turn off the bypass for my amp sim, and turn off the bypass for the cab, it will sound like this. And as you heard, all that digital harshness is kind of gone now. But what you're left with is sort of what it would sound as if it was actually recorded. So this is pretty much a Shure SM57 mic being recorded in front of a vintage 30 guitar speaker. And essentially that's how I do my guitar tracks and how I send the signals in the signal chain. So what's left to do is kind of show you um, how preset zones that I made it just took me 5 minutes. So if you actually spend more time doing it, your presets might actually be a lot better. So let's have take out how that sounds. So that's how it sounds, and I guess that's the end of this tutorial. I hope this helps, and if you have any more questions, feel free to ask, and hopefully, if the demand is there, I'll make more tutorials. So that's it for now.